Hello guys, I'm coming your way today again with a video tutorial of the current trend in gold. On a previous video I did, I received some messages for further explanation of the trend I showed in the last video. What I'm going to do today is I would want to do two videos to explain actually in detail, and I'll do the first video which I would explain only the major or the primary trend in the gold market since the current high in 2011. Now, I would want to mention that this trend here, from here, this top to this bottom here, and then from here to this bottom here, all constitute one cycle in the gold trend. On the primary trend, this shape here, or this trend, or this cycle, represent one complete cycle on the gold trend. So that means that the current trend from here, from 16th August 2018 coming here, is a new cycle. Now I'll explain why this is one cycle. This top here actually, and this bottom here actually, is 0.618 of this whole cycle. And then if we use the major ellipse that contained the price action during this time, we would have this actually is what happened in the trend. And I will draw also the major axis of the ellipse, and I will draw also the minor axis of the ellipse. Now, this is the primary ellipse that contained the price action from 2011 to 2018. And from here, we can see that the action in this ellipse followed the lower side of the primary or the major axis. Now, this whole PTV or this whole ellipse is 30 degrees or just 1/12 of the main trend or the main cycle that has started. This cycle actually is 30 degrees on the time dial, on the time cycle. We know that if you have a cycle, you divide it into 12 different, into 12 equal sides. Every side indicates 30 degrees, or every one movement in the 12 divisions indicates 30 degrees. That 30 degrees is just this whole cycle. If we use the gun box to the trend, this one, and see the divisions of this cycle, it will tell us that from here we can see that this low exactly occurred on the 0.618 time axis of this ellipse or this cycle. So here we have the 0.382, and then I used the 0.154 ratio here, which I would explain later on, which is a critical ratio also in the gold market to be watching. And I want to say that this whole trend followed the lower axis of this ellipse that started from 2011 to 2018. I would want to mention that every 30 degrees on the axis I mentioned previously takes exactly 7 years to complete. Every 30 degrees takes exactly 7 years to complete. That means the whole 360 degrees on this cycle will take 84 years, but we will not go into that 84 years. We will only deal with the time where we would be alive to see what we can do with the market. So, the first cycle in the gold market is completed in this ellipse, and it followed the lower axis or the lower side of the ellipse until it completed in August 2018. Now, what I want to show today actually is that the next ellipse starts from here and then ends here. I'll try to make it look like the first ellipse. Actually, I'd want to indicate that this is not drawn to scale because I'm only using the trend on the chart, which is not exactly as how it will look like on a graph, on a drawn graph actually. Now, what I've done here is I've just drawn the next ellipse that we are expecting to contain the next cycle, and I've drawn the major axis and then the minor axis in this ellipse. Now, obviously, it looks like this second cycle looks a little bit wider than the first cycle. There are reasons to it, which I would explain later on. But this next cycle exactly ends on 25th April 2026. The next 30 degrees cycle, which completes the 60 degrees on the cycle axis, completes in 25th April 2026. That is actually the third week in April of 2026. Now, what I want to say is that this cycle will follow this direction and that direction to complete the ellipse. So the first ellipse followed the lower side of this ellipse. The second ellipse will follow the upper perimeter of the ellipse. Then it indicates, or for those who know about this geometric shapes, this is a mirror image. This ellipse here is just a mirror image of this ellipse here. So this follow the lower axis, this will follow the upper axis, and then when we put both ellipses together, it will be like that. The first here, there, second here, there, and then the next ellipse when we rotate it or when we put it exactly or we try to put it on the mirror line, overlay it on this. If you overlay this ellipse on this ellipse, you will have this one, this direction going this way here and then there. But this action is contained in this ellipse. This is just a mirror image of this ellipse. Now, the next thing I will mention is that the axis, the major and the minor axis of the ellipses. These are the major axis of the two ellipses, and these ones are the minor axis of the two ellipses. These two ellipses are mated at this point. And then what we know from mated ellipses is that when two ellipses are mated, they form an equilateral triangle. Their major axis forms an equilateral triangle, and then the major and the minor axes together forms a very peculiar geometric figure, which I would not want to go into for now. But I just want to show you today that the direction of this new trend or this new cycle will follow the upper perimeter of this ellipse. And in the next video, which will be a little bit lengthy, I will try to explain this limit here, this level here, why we are having major bounces at this level. I'll try to explain that level, and then also I'll try to see if I can make it very short in the next video, which I would explain the primary trends in the current gold market. So for now, I want you guys to just know that we are following this trend, this direction, until price will come into this side, or price will touch any side of this wall of the ellipse, and then price will follow this direction. Now, one thing more that I'll mention is that the top here of this ellipse is 2033 price level. 2033 price level, that is 2033 price level I mentioned in the previous post. That is where price will end. Now, until this ellipse is complete, price will not come below this line, this level. Price will not come below this level, because the price will be contained in this ellipse until the ellipse is complete. Until it is completed, price will not come outside or below this PTV or this ellipse here. So just check back in the next video, and then I would explain the primary trends in the gold market. Thank you guys for watching, and then I would meet you in the next video.